What's up people, how are you doing? My name is Dani and welcome to the renovation of the library in Willow Creek. First things first, I want to apologize for the inconsistencies on my schedule for the past 2 to 3 weeks. To be honest, I wasn't in a good place emotionally and mentally, but I'm recovering from that. I'm getting back on track, so I should be able to fix my schedule soon. But before I talk about that, let's talk about the renovation, yeah? So I mentioned a few times before that I'm something of a bookworm myself, so you would think that renovating a library would be a piece of cake, right? Well, turns out it wasn't. I don't go to many libraries, to be honest. I like to own my books. You know, I like to read them, put them on my shelf, and then grab them every once in a while to read my favorite parts, or even read the whole thing again if I happen to really like it. So because of that, I'm way more familiar with bookstores than libraries. I did some research, but honestly, I don't feel like it helped much. I only found images of hyper-modern, almost futuristic libraries or small, cozy, cottage-looking libraries, and I wanted neither of them for this one. The original library looks like a historical building. I think it's called Colonial Revival, I'm not sure. And I wanted to keep that vibe going, so I gave up on my research and tried to get creative instead. Overall, I would say I'm pretty pleased with the final result. I'm really happy with some parts of this build, like the reception area and the playroom for the kids. I managed to put a lot of clutter there, so they turned out pretty well. The rest of the place, though, is just not that interesting. Maybe I could have made it more interesting if I stopped using the same items over and over again, but well, I didn't want to add too much variety because I thought it would look kind of messy and that was really not the vibe I was going for. I wanted this place to look organized and solemn, you know what I mean? So that's why I kept repeating the same patterns. But let's start from the beginning, shall we? The first thing your Sims will see when they walk in is the reception area, a little lounge next to the toilets, and some desks with computers. I placed a coffee machine in the lounge area, and it might seem weird to have one right next to the toilet, but there are no coffee vending machines in my game. So wait a minute, actually, wasn't there a vending machine in those daily login rewards thing? Shit, I forgot about that. Should I go and change it before I upload the house to the gallery? You know what? No, I won't change it. From what I have seen on social media, a lot of people were complaining they couldn't get the rewards for some reason, so I'm not sure if the vending machine will show up for the people that didn't get it. I used the pillows on this build too, in the room for the kids, but those are not really important, so it's fine if they don't show up. Actually, now that I mentioned the daily rewards, can I take a moment to talk about those? I've seen so many people complaining and hating on those rewards, and honestly, I don't get it. I mean, I get the people who are saying stuff like, EA should fix the game instead of trying to bribe us with free stuff, like, that's fair. But I really don't get the people who hate the very existence of these rewards. Oh, not everyone can log in every single day. Well, you didn't have to. You only had to log in 3 days in the first week, 2 in the second and third weeks, and 1 in the fourth week. Oh, but I have school or work. No one works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you did, you wouldn't even have the time to worry about video games at all. You might not have time to play the game, but you can at the very least log into it to claim the rewards. It takes less than 5 minutes. Oh, but the game is so bad, it takes 45 minutes to launch. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's your computer's fault, not EA's. If it takes that long for your computer to launch the game, you shouldn't be launching the game, period. You are frying your computer. Don't be surprised when it finally dies on you. My computer is not even a super machine. I got it on sale 4.5 years ago, but it still launches the game in less than 2 minutes. Don't give me that shit. I'm not trying to defend EA by saying this, by the way. I can very well see them messing this up in the future, especially after I saw the questions they were asking in the survey about these events. But I mean, let's not be ungrateful either, okay? It's free stuff. Just take it if you want it, let it be if you don't. Maybe I have a different vision of these events because I'm already used to them. I play a lot of games where you have to go and log in every single freaking day to collect your rewards, do daily missions and stuff like that. So maybe that's why I actually love the idea of having daily rewards in The Sims. I know that most people who play The Sims are not like that though, so I don't know. Anyway, I spent enough time talking about that, so let's go back to the build, shall we? So as usual, I cut the part where I built the toilets because they are a little literally the same. There are 5 bathrooms in this build and 4 of them are exactly the same. I'm sorry, it's just that I'm really not good at building bathrooms. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have a really fancy bathroom in a community lot either way, so yeah. Moving on, I placed a couple shelves in one of the half walls from the reception area because there are these little piles of books in debug that I've wanted to use for a really long time now, but never had the chance to. I like to imagine those shelves are like a mini bookstore area where the Sims could buy books if that was an actual thing in the game. I know the libraries don't usually sell books, but I don't care. I wanted to use those adorable piles of books, so I did. Now, the room for the kids is not very different from the original. I only placed a couple extra things like the penguin TV, a plushie, and a toy box. I actually thought about adding toys scattered on the floor, but the Sims have this terrible habit of putting everything in their pockets, so I gave up on that idea. Instead, I sized down those decorative cars to make them look like toys the kids could play with. Then, the second floor of the building is the actual library. I thought it would only make sense for the reading/studying area to be away from the noise of the computers, the lounge, and the screams of the kids in the playroom, so I moved it upstairs. There are bathrooms in there too, as well as another smaller reception area that leads to the third floor of the building. In the original build, the third floor is completely empty and useless, but I decided to change that because it's pretty big even after I sized it down, and I didn't want to waste the space. It's a room meant for special events, like meetups with authors, book releases, and maybe even chess competitions, because why not? The outside of the build is nothing fancy, but if you have been watching my speed builds for a while, you were most likely expecting that already, so yeah! I think that's it for the build. Now, let's talk about the things that caused me to mess up my schedule for the last month. One of them is related to the channel, so I will talk about that one first. The truth is, lately I've been feeling that this whole making videos for YouTube thing has been burning me out. Don't get me wrong, I still love doing this, I love playing The Sims, I am enjoying the challenges I'm currently playing. Even the 100 baby challenge, I thought that one would be my worst nightmare, but I'm actually having a blast with it. So the problem isn't the game or the content I'm making. The problem is editing the videos. I already had to put up I don't know how many community posts to apologize for the delay of some episodes because my video editing software decided to act funny, and that is starting to really piss me off. I don't know if the problem is from the software I'm using or it's a common thing to video editing software, but it's sucking part of the joy of running this channel. I sometimes spend more time looking at my screen, waiting for the program to follow my commands or unfreeze than actually editing the videos. That's very frustrating, not to mention boring. The longer the video, the worse it gets, and honestly, I'm not sure about what the best solution would be. The way I see it, there are only 2 ways of solving this problem. Number 1, I reduce the amount of editing I put in my videos, so I will just cut out the boring parts, fix the audio if there's a need for that, and maybe zoom into the notifications and stuff. Or number 2, I keep editing my videos the way I've been doing it until now, with the memes and sound effects, but I make them shorter. I will cut out everything that is not essential for the challenge or storyline, even if there's a risk that the episodes will seem kind of fragmented. I'm still thinking about which one would be better. I'm experimenting a little too, so if you watch my gameplay videos too, don't be too surprised if things start to change or look a little bit weird for a while, okay? Now, as if that YouTuber existential crisis was not enough, I also had to deal with a bunch of personal situations. My dad came back home for a 1-week vacation, which was a big distraction. I had disagreement with a very good friend who is most likely watching this video. Hi Taz. And my boyfriend got sick. Oh yeah, I have a new boyfriend by the way. But just a few days ago, I thought I was about to become single again. Apparently, there was a problem with his phone and he wasn't getting any of my texts or calls. He wasn't answering me on Discord or Facebook either, so I thought he was ghosting me. Like, we were supposed to meet last Sunday, but when I tried to call him the day before to confirm the details, he had just vanished. I asked a common friend if he had any news from my boyfriend, and he was like, oh, I talked with him just yesterday, and he told me he was going back to his hometown for the weekend. And like, I really started to lose my shit at this point. He told me we could meet Sunday morning, but then I learned from our friend and that he had gone to spend the weekend with his mom in his hometown. Like, those two things are not compatible, pal. Why didn't he tell me right away that he wouldn't be around during the weekend? I tried to call him again to clear this up, but the phone wasn't even ringing, and that is not normal for a guy like him. Unlike me, he's a super social guy. His friends and family are always calling him, asking him to go out and stuff like that. We had our calls interrupted by other people plenty of times, so like, there's no way he would keep his phone turned off for so long, especially not after he got sick. When that happened, he went no contact with me for a whole day on 2 different occasions. The first one was because he almost fainted in the ER, so the doctors kept him there for the whole day to do exams and stuff like that. He was bored and tired to death when he finally got home, so he just passed out in his bed. Then the second time, he was actually admitted to the hospital for almost 24 hours, and he only told me about it after it happened. He called me around lunchtime like, "Oh, I'm so tired, I'm leaving the hospital now." And I was like, "Oh, did you go there to get the results for the exams you did the other day?" And he was like, actually, I spent the night at the hospital because I got sick again." He told me that he was fine now, that the doctors had given him a bunch of pills and stuff, but then the next day, he doesn't tell me shit again. Obviously, I started to panic, thinking he was sick again, but no, he was just trying to compensate for the work time he had lost while he was in the hospital. I told him that even if he was busy working, he should have sent me at least one message saying that he was okay so I wouldn't get worried. And he did that a few times, but then a week after that, he went silent on me again for almost 3 whole days. And he stood me up during that time too, let's not forget that. I was furious and worried sick at the same time. Because like when I learned that he had gone to his hometown, it even crossed my mind that maybe he had gotten into an accident on his way there. So I spent the weekend searching for news reports on car accidents. I'm an anxious overthinker with a wild imagination, okay? Things can get really crazy really fast inside my head, alright? Luckily, there was no news about a young man dying on the road, so I went back to being furious again. Wait, actually, no. Before that, I went and bothered his best friend, whom I barely know, thinking that he would definitely know something. I was ready for him to tell me that my boyfriend was sick again or something, but no. He told me that he talked with my boyfriend and he just had a problem with his phone, so he couldn't call me. I still think he could have reached out to me if he wanted to. He couldn't use his phone or his computer since he was at his mother's place, but he could have used someone else's phone to at least send me a text explaining what was going on. Especially after he learned that I was asking his best friend for news about him. I'm still salty about that, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't want to go and fight with him right now because, well, first he had a fight with his mom over our relationship. I haven't met her yet, but she already disapproves of our relationship because of the age gap, so yay! And second, we got the news yesterday that one of his cousins passed away due to cancer, so yeah. He has a lot on his mind right now, and I don't want to make it worse. I can save this for later. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty exhausted, so I think I will end this voiceover here. I'm sorry I won't be covering the entire video, but I really need a nap. Well, actually, before I go, let me tell you about this crazy thing that happened yesterday. So, yesterday night, I was in the kitchen, sitting on the couch, waiting for my dinner to warm up, when I suddenly feel a really sharp pain on my knee. It was like someone was stabbing me with a massive needle. I kid you not, I almost let out a cry of pain. I looked down to check on my knee, obviously, and I saw a fly. This is going to sound crazy, but there was a fly on my knee biting me through my clothes. Not a mosquito, a fly. I tried to smack the bitch with my hand, but you know how flies are, it just flew away. But like, what the hell was that? Since when do flies bite? My mom actually told me last year or something that she was bitten by a fly, and I didn't believe her. She says some really weird stuff sometimes, so I didn't pay attention to it, but now I have been bitten by a fly too. Through my clothes! I mean, granted, I was just wearing an old pair of leggings. The fabric is not very thick to begin with, but still, really, since when do flies bite. I spent my entire childhood on a farm. I could find at least 3 different species of flies there on a daily basis, and neither of them ever bit me, nor did I hear they could do that. And damn, it hurts. It hurts a lot more than a mosquito bite. Not as much as a wasp stung though. I mean, at least I don't think so. I was only stung by wasps once when I was younger. I can barely remember it, so I can say for sure, but I'm willing to bet that a wasp stung hurts more than a fly's bite. Anyway, I got so paranoid because of it that I sprayed insecticide on nearly half of my house, and I have plans to spray the rest today. In fact, maybe I should do that before my nap. I really don't want those flies around. And since the spiders in my house are useless at catching the flies, I have to go and do it myself. Gosh, I miss the toad that used to live in our doorstep. He was so cute and nice, catching all the bugs for us. He wasn't our pet though. The toad just showed up at our doorstep one day, stayed there for a few weeks, maybe a couple months, and then disappeared. Maybe he went into estivation? I don't know. Anyway, now for real, I'm ending this voiceover. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, because I'll be back in a couple days and you don't want to miss a thing. Trust me. See you then. Bye!